So within electrodynamics, there's two more concepts that we need to look at. And the next one is going to really be how we relate electrical energy back to mechanical energy. You see, energy on its own, when converting between forms, isn't going to be especially useful when we deal with electrodynamics. The reason for that is, if we look at our modern world, during the day, we use a lot more energy than we do at night. We can't just generate all of our energy at one moment, and we can't generate all of it at the wrong time. Sometimes we need to store that energy, but most of the time we need to generate the right amount at the right time for a given period of time. There's so much time involved. So there was a definition that we didn't totally cover when we did our energy unit. That definition is power. This is another one that is likely a lot more familiar to you because it works a lot better for us measuring things in our daily lives. The most common time we see this for the average person is on a light bulb. What are light bulbs rated in? How do you know how strong of light it gives off? Now technically it's in lumens, but who knows how much a lumen is? I don't even know, and I'm supposed to be good at this stuff. What I look for is watts. Power is measured in watts. And this is abbreviated with an uppercase W. In equations, power is abbreviated as a capital P. Power is useful because when I'm trying to generate electricity, I need to do it generally through some kind of generator. And those are usually some kind of mechanical device that will spin and convert that mechanical rotation into electrical energy. There's a lot more complexity to it, I'm oversimplifying it, but when that's going on, it's really inconvenient to try and figure out the exact number of joules first. In fact, there may be times when figuring out the exact amount of energy is useful, but more often, figuring out the right amount of power is going to be a lot more beneficial for us. And that's nice because that's going to be really easy to convert between mechanical power and electrical power. We're going to see that in just a moment. So if I have something like, let's just try and draw a generator here. I'm going to do a bad job. I'm not good at drawing. So this is a generator. Let's just use a simple example like a water wheel. So a water wheel, maybe this is some kind of ancient device that's been converted to actually do electrical energy. Or maybe it's a really poor design in a dam. So the water would come down here, it would cause a rotation here. This rotation would be a mechanical movement. This mechanical movement would be mechanical power. We could measure the amount of work being done on this flywheel, on this gear, on this shaft, whatever, and that would be our work right here, and we could measure that over time, the work done per second, every second, we could figure that out, and that would give us power. Now, if that power converts with very good efficiency, then what we're going to have in here is converting this mechanical energy into electrical energy. So the output here is going to be electric power. Now this is where watts really comes in handy. This is where we see it all the time. On light bulbs, on electric motors, even on laptops and things like that. They're rated for a certain amount of watts. Because it doesn't really matter how many joules something uses, it matters how quickly it uses them. If something uses 1,000 joules over the course of 1,000 hours, that's a joule per hour, that's nothing. It's almost nothing. But if it uses that in the split second, it might generate a lot of heat and start a fire. So power actually becomes a lot more useful to think about in that sense. So electric power, how could we define that? Well, if power is energy, so work over time, which would be measured in joules per second. How can I get joules per second from electrical energy? Actually, really easily. Because remember, voltage is joules per charge. So it's joules per coulomb. Current is coulombs per second. So if I multiply these together, if I take my voltage times my current, then I'm taking joules, oh, that's not a J, joules per coulomb times coulombs per second. The coulombs, the charge cancels out, and I'm left with joules per second. So voltage times current will give me power. That's really convenient. And then if I really want to figure out the energy used, I can just take that power and multiply it by time. No big deal. But so that gives us a really convenient way to convert between mechanical energy and electrical energy. Okay?